everyone, Tina here for Papertrey Ink. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm super excited to share a project with you. We're using the Into the Blooms Holly die set. It's a 10-piece die set, and it has the branches and holly leaves along with 2 sets of different sized berries and then some berry accent pieces too. We're going to be using this on our card along with the very Merry Christmas sentiment stamp set. This is a great stamp set that has sentiments that are great for outside but also great for the inside. We're going to be using this on our card today along with the coordinating die set. So we are going to start by creating a background. We're using a stencil for that. The stencil set is the Buffalo Plaid. In this stencil set there's 2. There's a larger Buffalo Plaid and then there is a smaller one. You can see the size difference here. And we're going to use the smaller one and just add a little bit of detail to our background. For the background of our card I'm going to be using Papertrey Ink's classic Kraft Cardstock. And I have an A2 panel that will cover my card front beautifully. And let's bring in my grip mat. We're going to start by taking this stencil here and we're going to layer it over our panel, and it lines up beautifully. And I'm bringing in classic Kraft ink and my blending tool. Pick up a little bit of ink here, and I'm going to do some light inking. Again, I'm going for a tone-on-tone look because the front of my card's going to have a lot going on. So we'll just add a little bit of color with our first layer. It doesn't look like I'm doing much, but once you remove it, you can see the difference. So let's remove our stencil. And you can see the plaid starting. I'm going to take the second layer, and it is indexed on here so you know which side is facing up. We're going to add this. I'm going to again go over it with my classic Kraft ink, just adding some of those stripes. For some reason I always like gingham or buffalo plaid with Christmas. I just think they go together like peanut butter and jelly. Okay, I think that's all we need to do. And that is our background. Let me show you what it looks like. Very soft. I love how it kind of frames the panel here. I'm going to go ahead and just use my tape runner, and we're going to adhere our card front panel to the front of our card here. I have a top folding card. Now we're going to do some die cutting. We're going to die cut our holly, and I have some Papertrey ink cardstock. This is pure poppy. We have dark chocolate. This is just white. I have Simply Chartreuse and Limeade Ice, and we're going to switch out the holly leaves, kind of mixing and matching, and I'll die cut out a couple sets of each color. And then we have our holly branch here. We're going to die cut this out with, and I'm thinking we'll go with our Simply Chartreuse. We'll die cut this out. We have this piece here I'm going to use for our berries. There's detail pieces, and this piece will create well, let's go here. This piece here creates kind of like a highlight on our berries, and I'm going to use white cardstock for that. And then this one creates the bloom portion, kind of seed, maybe, well, not really a seed, but the bloom portion of the berry. So I'll die cut that out with my dark chocolate. And speaking of the berries, we're going to die cut out 2 sets. Actually, I'm going to create a couple sets of the berries. It's always good to have more. And I'm going to run everything through my die cut machine, and then we will put together some holly. I have everything die cut, and I put together some of these berries. You can see the highlight and then the top of the berry. We're going to do the same thing with these. To create them, it's really easy. I'm going to go ahead and use my glue, and we're going to just add a little, let's zoom in. I'm just going to add a little glue, kind of at a little bit of a curve. And then we'll start by adding the highlight portion. That's these little white ones. And we will just tack these down. So there's the highlight portion. And then we have these small pieces that look kind of like seeds, but they're the top of the berry. And I'm going to go ahead and add just a small dot. And we will add these to each one of our die cuts. So our berries are done for the most part. I am going to flip them around, and I'll take some small foam squares, and we are going to have these popped up on our card panel. And we'll put these off to the side, and now we're going to do a little bit of ink blending on our leaves. For the ink blending, I'm kind of going to go rustic looking with dark chocolate ink. I'm going to bring back my blending brush here. I'm going to pick up a little bit of ink, and then I'm going to add some color to the edges here. And I'll do that to all of my leaves. I'm also going to do my branches, just a little bit on the ends. And I think we may just do a little bit on the berries too. Now we have ink blended edges on all of our die cuts. I'm going to bring in my card base, and I'm going to add my holly leaves. Let's see, not the berries, just the holly. I'm going to use some glue, and we'll start by adding the branch. So we'll just add little dots of glue. Okay, we are going to fill in our holly branches with our leaves. And I'm going to alternate from light to dark. So far we're at one layer, and before we add the berries, I'm going to do a little bit of splattering. I have some white acrylic paint. I thought we'd make some snowfall in our background. I'm going to add some to my craft desk here. We're going to add a little bit of water to thin it out. And I'm going to use my paintbrush to do that. And then we're going to splatter. Okay, I think that's just the right amount. Since I'm using acrylic paint, it's going to take a little bit of time to dry. And in the meantime, we'll put this off to the side, and then I'm going to go ahead and clean my work surface. I want to stamp Merry Christmas, so I'm going to bring in my stamping positioner and some classic Kraft Cardstock. I thought we would do some heat embossing. So I'll treat my paper with my anti-static powder tool here. I'm going to go over my Merry Christmas with my Versamark ink. Okay, we're going to use white embossing powder for our greeting. I'm just going to go over it. I'll use my heat gun and we will melt it. So our greeting is embossed with white embossing powder. I'm going to take the coordinating dies And we will line them up and die cut out our sentiment. And then while I'm at it, I have a piece of pop-up foam. I'm going to die cut out the greeting Merry Christmas with my foam too. I will do that and I will be right back. I'm going to take my greeting that we die cut out. I'm going to add some glue behind here. And we are going to layer that on our foam. And this is going to give our greeting some dimension. I'll do the same thing with my Christmas. I'm going to take my greeting and we are going to add our Merry Christmas. The nice thing about glue is you have a little bit of wiggle room because you can move it around. And I think right in the center of the card, I think that's a good spot for it. Okay, we have all of our berries now. We're going to add a little bit of color. It's going to bring this to life. So I'm just going to create little berry clusters with the large and the small. And I think that's the right amount. I have a couple left over, but I don't think I'm going to use these. I'm going to, for a little added texture, I'm going to bring in some Dark Chocolate Bakers Twine. And we are going to add a bow at the very top of our card. I'm going to finish my card off by adding some Glossy Accents over the berries. The nice thing is it will seal those smaller pieces in too. And don't. We have a curious little kitty here. And I'm going to add one more thing. And I want to bring in some clear glitter. This is just a little bit of clear glitter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the back of my paintbrush. And I'm just going to add a little bit of this clear glitter to those berries. The glitter is going to seal inside that Glossy Accents. And I love the icy look of this. I'm going to tap away the excess here. Sparkle just very vaguely. The Glossy Accents looks cloudy, but it will dry clear. And then that finishes my card today for Papertrey ink. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.